I've got a factory program loaded in and I've altered it and I like the sound of it. Now if I want to hear what the original was like, I can press the compare button and it'll give me the original parameters without any of the alterations. Now if I try and modify a parameter when we're in compare mode, it won't change and the compare button will flash. So if I take that off, my parameters will snap back. Alright, so I want to save this. Now I can hit save and overwrite the program, but I'm going to hit save as, and I'm going to give it a name. And we can choose which bank we want to put it in. I'm going to leave it in mallets for now. And you can see here that it's automatically appended a number to the beginning of the name. Now if I want to scroll through my programs, I can use these arrow buttons that appear when I hover my mouse over that area. And you see that this has focus now. There's a little halo around the field. That means I can use the arrow keys on my keyboard to move back and forth. And that's up, down, or left, right arrows. I can also click here and jump to specific presets or use the up, down arrows as well and just hit return or enter to confirm the revised selection. Same thing with banks. I can click here and I can click like that to select non-contiguously or use the arrow keys, hit return, and it has the halo or focus, so I can use my arrow keys as well even without the menu open. We can manage the programs and banks from the bank manager that we get from this menu over here. I can click on the button to open it and click again to close it. So in here, we see the programs and the banks. So when I click on a bank, I'll see all the associated programs, and then each program has information here. So what I can do if I want to add a bank is hit the plus button, and I can name it. And there it is. It's added it in now at the bottom. And I didn't add a number on and it wasn't automatically appended, but I can add one on and that'll allow it to respond to MIDI program and bank change messages. But for now, there's no number there. Now, if I want to delete the bank, I can just select it and hit the minus button. But if you delete a bank with sounds in it, it's going to delete all the programs as well, so be careful. I can also rename it. So maybe I will rename it now and give it a number. And there it is, renamed. I can show the files in a bank by hitting this Show Files button. So let's say I select one of these. You'll see that banks are merely text files. So if I go Show Files, it's going to open up a Finder window, and you can see the location here. It's in my User folder, in the User Library, Application Support, Applied Acoustic Systems, Chromaphone 2 in this case, Banks, and there are all my banks. And then here's the one that I just created down here. And this is where we can access them if we want to back them up or share them. Now, back into Chromaphone, we'll see that when we select a program, we have information. We can edit the information by simply clicking in the box. So, for example, I can go to the sound I just created here, and maybe I want to add some information. I can put my name in there, and I can add whatever I want. And the thing to know is we can also edit multiple files at once. So I can make non-contiguous selections by using the Command key on the Mac or the Control key on Windows. And with that multiple selection, I can now open these boxes, and whatever I enter there will be applied to anything that's selected. And I can use the Shift key for contiguous selections. And again, I can edit them all together. Now, we can also move or copy files. For example, let's say this one that I just created, I want to leave it in here, but I also want to have it in my own bank of sounds. So I can click the copy button, and now I can move this one and click in there. So now when I go to my bank of sounds, we'll see that it's been copied there as well. And we can also hit the move button, which is the same thing. I can move it, and I'm going to hit cancel move right now, and that'll move it without copying it. And similarly, whichever program is selected, we can hit delete. And if we do that, it moves it to a temporary bank here called trash. You'll see I just moved it there. You can then empty the trash, which makes it permanent, or I can, of course, click and move it back. So let's move it now back into my bank of sounds. And there it is. Now, if you want to restore the factory library, let's look in the Finder. I'm just going to close this up, and I'll show you where the factory library is. It's stored in the same location, but at the root level of your hard drive. So here's my main hard drive, Library, Application Support, Applied Acoustic Systems, Chromaphone 2, and the factory library. So we just need to copy and paste this into the user location. And on Windows, we go to the C drive and program files and the x86 folder if you're working in 64-bit, then applied acoustic systems, and then whichever instrument you're using, and then you'll see the factory library, which you can then copy and paste into your user folder. And same applies for any AAS instrument that you have installed.